Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jen and Gina show. I'm Gina and my friend Jen is on the phone. Say hi, Jen.
Hi everyone.
Welcome back to episode 3. Today we will be talking about the bidding and the sale of AJ. And so this meeting to approve the sale happened on September 16th, Jen?
Yes, September 16th.
So with a 6-2 vote, J.C. Holt was not present for the meeting, but John Tanner and Adam Hall both voted no on the sale of this property. But before that, we're going to back it up to May 5th to give you a little background about how the sale of this property actually started. And so back on May 5th, there was a meeting that where the school board voted unanimously to have the AJ property appraised by Valbridge Property Advisors. Now, I think that this was a little bit of a concern because this company is out of Pittsburgh, right, Jen?
Yes, all they do is Pittsburgh School. I think they compared AJ to like Westinghouse and some other school in Moon Township, which had zero property attached. So yeah. I don't know how they come up with that.
Right, because the property that was in question was attached to 28 acres in the mountains. So mountain land is usually sold at a premium. So I think that's, what we were hoping for in the result of the sale of this building. And I think for the most part, the people in the mountain were disappointed also with their appraisal. But anyway, so the school board agreed to have this appraisal done. I actually asked at that school board meeting before the meeting started why they didn't ask for bids in regards to the appraisal companies coming through. And Dr. Bosnick actually told me that because it fell under the $10,000 threshold, it was not necessary to put out bids for that particular job. And so before the vote, though, occurred, Adam actually asked a question on the motion, and he asked if the school board approved the appraisal company, would they be able to get another appraiser to come in and do the appraisal? And that was interesting, right, Jen?
Yes, because if they approved the appraisal, and they thought it was too low then why didn't they just redo it?
Right. And also, this meeting occurred on May 5th, and the appraisal was not performed until May 8th, according to documents that were submitted to Dr. Macheski on June 5th. And so there was a little bit of confusion as to why that question would be asked. Did he anticipate that it was going to come in low? Do we know if that's when, our dates misconstrued here? We don't know. And so I think that's important to sort of at least take note of because we want to know why that occurred. And then also between June 5th and June 16th, so between that meeting and after the appraisal was actually done. So the appraisal was, and that information was submitted to Dr. Macheski on June 5th. Between June 5th and June 16th, Jen and I cannot find any documentation or any agendas that reflect that the actual appraisal done by the company was voted on and it was approved. Right, Jen?
Correct. We can't find that anywhere because they actually assessed it at $545,000, which everybody was up in arms about.
Yeah.
So if they disliked it, there should be a vote somewhere where they said, no, we're getting it reassessed.
Right.
And we can't find that anywhere.
No, and it's interesting going back to Adam's comment. So if it was under appraised, then they felt that they could have gotten more for the building being sold. Why didn't they explore that option? Why wasn't there any information given to us that reflect that option was actually considered? And so we don't know why the question was asked if nothing was ever done in going in that direction. And so then on June 16th, there was a work session meeting held prior to the actual voting on the method of which they were going to sell this building and this property. And so during that work session meeting, a lot of the mountain people came to the podium and spoke on behalf of the building, and they expressed their desire to have the building donated back to their community, because a family by the name of A.J. McMullen, or the A.J. McMullen family, actually donated the property to the district. And in their perception, they did so in order to build a school for the mountain kids. And so on the deed, it specifically says that the property was actually donated to the Uniontown Area School District. And there was also conversations online reflecting whether or not the A.J. McMullens actually paid for the building. And I have searched, Jen has searched, there is no information that leads to the fact that the A.J. McMullens actually built the building. So my assumption is the school district actually built the building that is on the property, which then belongs to the taxpayers of the district. Right, Jen?
Yes, the entire district. They donated the 28 acres to the entire district, and then the district then built the building.
Right.
And it opened in like 1970.
Yeah. And so conveniently, the footage of those comments did not make it to the actual video that was posted about the meeting that day. But during the regular meeting, the board decided to change the method in which they were going to sell the building. So on the agenda item reflected that they would be seeking bids. They would be seeking sealed bids, in order to make the decision on who would be awarded the property. And during that work session, they discussed the 3 different options, and the solicitor chimed in, and he told us the 3 different options and what those options mean. So one was a public auction, one was sealed bids, and one was a private sale. And he did go on to state the amount of work that would have to be put into a private sale, and how the court systems would have to be involved, and there was a lot more involved in that process. And so the decision by the board after this discussion was to sell the building through a public auction in hopes that they would receive more than the asking price and well above that. And so at the end of the day, after the bid, well, how much was the property approved for, Jen?
$545,000.
No, how much did the building actually sell for in the public auction?
Oh, $770,000, which was a good bit more.
Which was well over the asking price, but also I think it's really interesting to note that the bidding, to me, what I witnessed, maybe there was a glitch in my internet, I don't know, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it seemed like it abruptly ended at 770, that there wasn't a timer. I did not see the timer go off after that point, but like I said, maybe it was just a glitch on my end. We're just going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but
yeah, you might also want to add that our local FAPEN Economic Development Authority will approve loans up to $750,000 for any new business that comes to the area and is planning to bring, job offers and employment. Also, if they're looking to revitalize or go beyond the current company they own.
Yeah. And so I really feel like we need to keep an eye on that, because I would think that information would have to be disclosed in the documentation somewhere if a loan was approved in order to receive the funding for the buildings. Who knows? Because it seems like not that many people really know what the options are and what they mean. To me, I don't think that the school board members did their due diligence prior to going into that work session to really explore what those options are. Because if you're going to ask, what your options are, and then leave a meeting and never really look into getting the property reassessed, or getting other opinions, or bringing that to the board and getting those questions answered. And maybe it's because getting it appraised by another company would cost the district more money. But I mean, if it's going to give a proper assessment of the property and the value of the property, I would think that it would be worth it if we could get a couple of million for it instead of settling at $770,000. Right, Jen?
Right.
And so, if it costs a couple $1,000s for another appraisal to come in and we're making at least $2 million off of it, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. I don't know,
Right, because the local community and everybody that lives in Fayette County knows what mountain land is worth
Yeah.
and valued at. So even if you look at Fayette properties or any kind of link to Fayette properties and you look up AJ McMullen, you will see that it's well over worth $3 million still.
Right.
So
why is it, if there's a huge difference between what it was listed on for the Fayette property, website, as compared to what it was appraised for at some company outside of Pittsburgh? And if you were concerned about that back in May, why wasn't there any action taken in that direction to assure that the building was going to be secured at a price that was going to benefit the entire district? So that's sort of where my question lies. Like, how is this, our school was in this massive amount of debt. And if you look at, I really, 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 really encourage everybody to go actually look at the meeting and watch the meeting. There were several discussions about other subject matters that are interesting to really note. One of them being Dr. Shell brought up the,
the state takeover possibly.
Right. And discussing that option. I'm not really sure what surrounded that because it's really hard to hear. I need to go back and really dive into that video before we even disclose. We discussed that on our little podcast here. So yeah.
Right, because I don't know if the feasibility study revealed this, what was all submitted to the state, that she believes the state may take over. Not real sure, but yeah, you definitely want to key into the September 16th board meeting.
Yeah, and you just need to decipher that information for yourself and really sort of take in what is being said and sort of analyze for yourself what that means. But also, I want to make a note that I believe this process could have been handled way differently. There was questions of whether feasibility studies were done, and those will be discussed in further episodes because Jen and I, after doing the research for this episode, we discovered that there was a bid put out for a feasibility company. We don't know what happened to that after that. I believe that the IU was the one that did the feasibility study, and that was sort of interpreted as something different by other people who also listened in on that conversation and attended that meeting. And so there's just a lot to uncover. There's so many different rabbit holes, and it is really hard to contain the information that we're doing for each episode because we're trying to give you as little information as possible so that you can piece this all together, because it's all overwhelming. Like, all these little pieces, once you put them together, will become one big picture, but we don't want to overwhelm you with too much information at one point. Right, Jen?
Correct. So we will talk about the feasibility study and what occurred between April 9th and May 2nd.
In our next episode, which will be episode number 4. And so we hope that you join us. So anybody that watched today, we just wanted to thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
See ya.